A promotional fee.
Now, stay tuned for an ABC Sports exclusive. ABC Sports presents live in its 27th season, the Pro Bowlers Tour. From the Don Carter Lanes in Miami, Florida, it's the Miami Classic. Now, let's meet our 5 finalists. In 5th place, making his first championship round appearance of the year and second of his career, Brad Snell. In 4th place, the winner of 3 PBA titles, Tom Milton. Our 3rd place bowler is the youngest 10-time PBA champion, Pete Weber. In 2nd place, making his first tournament appearance, is Dennis Horan Jr. And our tournament leader, making his first championship round appearance, hailed as the favorite for the 1988 Rookie of the Year, Rick Steelsmith. From the beautiful Don Carter Lanes here in South Florida, it's the 7th stop on the 1988 Professional Bowlers Tour. Hi, I'm Nelson Burton Jr., and welcome to ABC, where we have a full menu of sports for you today. Following the Professional Bowlers Tour at 5 Eastern, Wide World of Sports presents the NutraSweet Figure Skating Championships. And then at 8 o'clock Eastern, the United States hockey team takes its quest on for Olympic gold as it skates off with Austria in a hockey game starting at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Now, on the Professional Bowlers Tour, we have a great field today. In the number 3 position, we have the 1985 champion, Pete Weber. And in the number 1 position, we have the most highly touted collegian ever to come on the Professional Bowlers Tour, Rick Steelsmith. And then sprinkled in the field in the 2nd and 5th positions, the first appearance by lefties this season on the Professional Bowlers Tour. It's going to be an exciting final round. And now, in the absence of my regular partner, Chris Schenkel, who is working the ski jumping at Calgary, and he'll be on tomorrow with the 70-meter jump, is one of the great bowlers of all time. He'll be working with me, doing the commentary today. Please welcome the great Dick Weber.
Thanks very much, Paul. Certainly appreciate that. Alongside me, ladies and gentlemen, is a great friend of mine, Don Carter, voted the greatest bowler of all time. And Don, you were very instrumental in helping Mr. Elias, the founder, organize the Professional Bowlers Association. Also, what a great transition from the greatest bowler of all time to a proprietor of 10 beautiful Don Carter Lane establishments, along with Bert Rose, Jerry Eisen, Junior Powell. What else is going to happen in the Don Carter chain?
Thank you very much, Dick. That's nice. We're building our 11th center now in Palm Beach, and we want to become more involved with the PBA and ABC because we think that's the backbone of the bowling industry. So we're very happy to be here. My wife is happy. There's a couple left-handers on today, and I know you have a special interest today with your son, Peter.
Well, I'm not going to try to be a little prejudiced, but I hope he does win. Anyway, let's get on with the bowling, and back to you, Bo. Thanks very much, Don.
Thank you. Handshake.
Good luck to your son. And in the first match, our first appearance by a left-hander, Brad Snell. The highest other left-hander finish we've had during the year was by Jimmy Snell, left lane, outside line. Pretty good way to start as we see Tom Milton, the veteran in this match, who is somewhat recovering from a back injury that he has been holding him back for a year and a half, been undergoing treatment. Plays the big hook ball from the center of the lane, medium speed. Dick, a pretty good start. Both players starting with strikes.
Bo, let's take a look at the profile of Tom Milton. 5-step delivery. Very low backswing. Hip high. Good knee bend. Good extension. Watts, great speed. Everything's perfect.
Milton, who won 3 PBA titles in 1983 and almost $100,000, he was 99,000 plus, is a streak bowler. As you look at that little guide mechanism he has on his right finger, hopes to start with a double.
finger keeps his finger from slipping off that ball. Very important to him.
Good point, Dick, as you see the wide sweep of Tom Milton. That big hook ball, when controlled, can overpower those 3 pound, 6, 7, and 8 ounce pins. Now here's Brad Snell up on the approach, the extreme outside line, getting a strike to even the match.
Just nudged the 6 pin a little bit there.
3 pin going to the sideboard. Snell hoping for a trip 6, which all the pro bowlers, if they can carry the high hit, always do extremely well. And Dick, this is a fellow that you know from the Midwestern region, one of your stars.
Yes, he was Bowler of the Year in 1986 and 84, and he's a tremendous individual. Does a lot of work for the Professional Bowlers Association. Here's the profile. You notice that he pushes out with the first step. Shoulder high back swing, closes his shoulders as he comes through for the follow through. Good knee bend, good extension. Very, very important for a bowler to score with a good knee bend and good extension, don't you think, Bo?
Very much so, Dick. And he credits the late Paul Krumsky from Chicago of actually forcing him to have that deep knee bend at the foul line, and it's very advantageous. High hit goes a little bit high, breaks up the 4, 6, 7, 10, and Dick, the left-handers told me that lane 13 into Don Carter's here hooks a little bit more for them. The right-handers say that lane 14 hooks a little bit more. So we have 2 different types of styles, lefties and righties, cranker players and down and in players, and they must all play a little bit of a different line.
And converts the 4-7 spear without any trouble.
Today's first breakdown, $6,000 for the loser of this match. The winner goes on for a chance at $27,000. As you see, 7, 8, 14 for the remaining other 2 spots. The champion, $27,000 at stake. Rick Steelsmith, who is eligible for the Firestone Tournament of Champions, would be his first appearance, but he has won the ABC Masters title. He'll be coming up next. Now here's Tom Milton, 2 strikes working, leads by 12. So far, that big hook ball working right in the pocket.
You know, Bo, I coached with this individual all the week. I was amazed at the amount of slow speed that he used. But I asked him, I says, anytime you get in trouble, what happens? And he says, well, I have a woman coach back in St. Petersburg, and her name is Arlene Levine. And he says, when I get in trouble, she can spot my immediate trouble immediately and correct it immediately, and that's why I'm bowling good this week.
Well, I'm sure Arlene's proud of his start so far. Perfect through 3. Four strikes in a row, and we'll be back in a minute with Tom Milton having a big 32-pin lead.
Every 4 years, something happens in this country.
It takes a while to warm up.
Takes a while to warm up.
Once every 4 years, the Olympics come to America. And once every 4 years, we all come together. Budweiser is proud to help bring the Olympics to America.
Good picture.
And Americans closer together.
McDonald Pass, Montana. Frigid cold, brutal winds. We asked these ranchers to try Alka-Seltzer Plus for their next cold.
Head gets all stuffed up and my nose runs and it really drags me down. Alka-Seltzer Plus works fast. That's the best part of it.
Alka-Seltzer Plus helps relieve the pain of having a cold.
Alka-Seltzer Plus cold medicine. Fast, effective relief for tough winter colds.
By golly, it does work.
Try new Alka-Seltzer Plus nighttime cold medicine to relieve your cold at night.
The championship pair here at Don Carter, Kendall Lanes, 13 and 14. Dick, tell us a little bit about the lane condition.
Well, Bo, the PBA procedure is where we clean each day and then we redress the lanes with dressing, and we dress 25 feet across the lane, and then buff to 45 feet, and then this area here is all dry. So the bowler wants to get the correct angle on the dressing and the slide area to make that ball charge into that pocket to carry the 10 pins.
Okay, and right now Tom Milton has found the right line. He has 4 in a row. Brad Snell coming up in the 4th frame is in arrears by 32. Needs to get a few strikes working. Gets a good break, Dick. He crosses over to the right-hander's side and avoids the split, has a strike to work with. Maybe that'll loosen him up.
You know, sometimes that can reverse an action, too. It's a good break for Brad Snell, and it's sort of aggravation to Tom Milton because of the break, but it can loosen a fellow up getting that kind of a break.
Brad Snell in the 42nd game last night defeated Anderson to get in the top 5, and he was very tentative at the start of the match, as he's doing so against Tom Milton, and came on very strong in the 9th and 10th frames with clutch strikes. Let's see if he can push Milton a little bit here with a double. There you go. He's off and running. Took advantage of that good break.
Like I say, look, he loosened him up a little bit, Bo, and here's the hit. Here's the hit, a real light hit, throwing the 5-pin and head pin to the right, carrying out the 6 and the 10. Good reaction.
And he likes it, taking advantage of that double. Now Tom Milton, who uses that, once again, that little guide piece on his finger to actually point it towards his target line, hold on to the outer surface of the ball. He tucks that pinky finger, gives him a better grip. 4 strikes in a row, going for 5. Saws that 5 out, Dick.
Yes, he certainly did. He threw it through the sideboard over the left side.
Reaches down to pick up a little something off the approach as you see the ball coming in the 1-3. Watch the actions. It drills the 5 out over into the 4-7 zone. Tom Milton has started with 5 strikes in a row. He's put Brad Snell behind by 32 pins through 5 frames, as Milton's taking a little more time to collect his thoughts. And when he snapped his hands together, Dick, it looked like he either knocked his watch off or something he had, and he had to reach down and put it back on.
Took the re-rack, which of each PBA member is allowed 3 re-racks in the individual game. There again, Bo, leaving the weak 10, as we call it. 6-pin setting in the gutter.
Well, he gave it a go. He sent the ball wide as he picks up a low-friction polyester bowling ball. He's using a polyurethane bowling ball for his first shot, as all the other pros. Has finger grippers in there just to hold on to it. This ball will hopefully slide a little more down the lane and control that big hook. Very important to just use minimum power on spare shots. And he makes it. Brad Snell, who has won 9 regional tournaments, my co-host here, Dick Weber, the Midwestern Regional Director, one of the 7 regions in the PBA's country, needs to get a few more strikes here going to press Tom Milton. He trails by 31. A strike here would cut it to 21.
Made the pro adjustment, Bo, but left that weak 7, the frame before on that particular lane. He went to the right side, the Brooklyn side, as we call it, for him.
Well, he took advantage of the break with a double. He quickly up to convert the 7-pin, wiping the rosin off his ball. With the spare, he would once again trail by 32. Brad Snell said he used to pull up at the foul line, and through some professional coaching, as you see him putting some rosin on the bowling ball, and that kind of ties in with our bowling tip of the week, why pros do it and what the legitimacy of that is for both amateurs and pros. Brad Snell got all his background in the regional program, won 9 regionals, and now feels he's ready for the Pro Tour, looks real good. strike there, 32-pin lead for Tom Milton. We'll be back to see if Snell can close the gap after this.
Okay, honey.
Can you tell who hasn't had their Kellogg's bran flakes?
Hang in there, honey.
Well, some people feel a little sluggish if they're not eating a balanced diet.
Oh, boy, I'm sluggish.
Kellogg's are the only bran flakes with fiber and a full day supply of iron to help balance your diet. And that's one great way to help fight that sluggish feeling. So maybe you can tell who hasn't had their Kellogg's bran flakes
Great shot, honey.
and who has. Kellogg's bran flakes, the fiber and iron cereal.
Hold it. Ho, ho, ho. So you're going to finally meet Cindy, huh?
Tonight.
Good. So first impressions are very important.
I think.
Okay. Now, imagine. Lights are low, the music's soft. Knock the door opens up. Somebody's out there doing this.
What is this? She's got dandruff?
No, you have dandruff.
No.
Yes, you
I
do.
shampoo every day.
You can shampoo your brains out with regular shampoo. It wouldn't matter.
Brains out?
Yeah, well, so use that.
Head and Shoulders?
Works for me, my friend.
But you don't have dandruff.
Exactamundo.
Head and Shoulders, because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Trust your car's performance to luck, and someday it just may bite the hand that doesn't feed it. Give your car the good life with STP gas treatment.
ABC's Olympic tradition continues. The pageantry, the drama, the spectacle of the opening ceremony live from Calgary. Next on ABC Sports.
And here's a man that my announcing partner has a vested interest in, the son of the great Dick Weber, Pete Weber, who will bowl the winner of this match in the second match today.
Well, yes, Bo, I might say, just like your father's very proud of you, I'm very proud of Pete. He's done a great job for us, and I think he's got a lot more years to go and a lot of championships to go.
All right, Tom Milton with a commanding 32-pin lead started the match with 5 strikes in a row, left the 10-pin in the 6th frame, now up in the 7th, leads Brad Snell by 32. Solid in the hole, Dick. And, you know, Tom Milton once told me when he went into a championship round that he liked to play it safe in the early going, but not to be here as you take a look at his profile footwork. He takes that very short steps, start approach, and getting the job done properly today. A very diligent young man, very persistent and very precise as he has a chance to open up a commanding 42-pin lead.
And with his expression that after that shot, boy, he was surprised that the ball held that much, but must have had enough speed on it to make it hold.
Good point, Dick. 8th frame. What a good break. The ball looks like it's going high for a split. Tom Milton trips the 4 out with a 2-pin. Has opened up a lead that Brad Snell cannot afford to let get any higher. It's coming up the 8th frame. Snell has a possible 247 right now. Milton going at a 249 pace. It's must-strike time for Brad Snell. And a little bit of disturbance in the crowd, but we've had a pretty wild crowd here all week. Dick, remember last night when your son Pete was charging, they were yelling Pete, Pete, Pete.
Yes.
As you see some of the top money winners so far for the year. Bob Benoit on the strength of that 300 game at the Quaker State. Monticelli, 39,000. Mark Roth, who did not compete the last couple of weeks because of sore wrists, rounds out the top 5. Now, Snell back up on the approach. Must strike. Sometimes there's reciprocity in this game, Dick. If you remember the last game, Anderson needed a strike to put Snell on the ropes and qualify for the top 5. He left a solid 7. Right now, the undoing of Brad Snell is that solid 7 here in the 8th frame. Still has a chance, but it's become more slim by the moment.
The nasty old 7-pin, the same as the nasty old 10-pin for the right-hander. And picks it up nicely. Brad Snell, you know, Bo, is a very unusual type of delivery with the 5 steps. He'll walk anywhere from 8 to 9 boards to the right and then slide back 5 to 7 boards to the left. Not recommended to a lot of people, but it fits Brad Snell's game, so if you like it, try it.
It's working, and he needs a strike here to stay in the match.
Another solid 7.
Once again, we haven't seen many solid taps here at Don Carter Kendall Lanes this week. The lanes are normal construction. As you look at the line, the style of Brad Snell from our rear view camera. Excellent shot here by producer Bob Kelly. The arm close to the body. And I say again, producer Bob Feller. Snell in trouble here. Best he could shoot is 260. Right now, Tom Milton has a potential 279. He had a 300 game earlier this week, and we know that big strike ball of his, when it gets cooking, is very, very tough on the pins.
His speed also helps him carry better than other bowlers too, Bo.
Well, with that strike, he locks up the match. Dick, he's going to be well up in the 200s as he has a 53-pin lead with just one frame to go. We'll update the match and give you the upcoming match with Pete Weber right after this. The Professional Bowlers Tour is brought to you by Budweiser, proud sponsor of the 1988 U.S. Olympic team. This Bud's for you. By True Value Hardware Store. It's more than our name, it's our way of doing business. And by Head & Shoulders, because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. The Professional Bowlers Tour will continue after this message and a word from our local station.
For great personal service and low everyday prices, check the lineup at your neighborhood True Value hardware store. Where the February True Value of the month is the Super Clip Grip. This 12-inch organizer is made of heavy-duty polyethylene, and its 8 tight gripping loops hold tools, garden utensils, even sporting equipment. In February, pick up the Super Clip Grip for just $2.99, where you see the banner at participating True Value hardware store.
Need a new muffler for your older car?
Midas size. Midas size.
They've got mufflers for older cars you don't plan on keeping forever.
Yeah.
Midas-size your older car and get it right the first time.
The Porsche engine in the Quaker State Indy car performs at a punishing 11,000 RPM. And the clean-running Quaker State with QSXer Protector is the same oil you buy right off the shelf. The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
ABC's Olympic tradition continues. The pageantry, the drama, the spectacle of the opening ceremony live from Calgary. Next on ABC Sports.
The symbol of excellence, the legendary Rolls-Royce Silver Ghost, now recreated by Franklin Mint Precision Models in the official die-cast model authorized by Rolls-Royce Motor Cars Limited. The 1907 Silver Ghost, only one was ever built, and now it's recreated in an incredible model. Hand-assembled from more than 127 pieces, each feature is authentic. The removable spare tire, protectively coated sterling silver-plated trim, pedals, instruments, and engine details precise to the very last spark plug. A stunning collector's piece for home or office. To order, call 1-800-453-2800. Use your credit card or mail $30 and be billed the balance in 3 payments. The imported Silver Ghost with certificate of authenticity. Call 1-800-453-2800. The Rolls-Royce Silver Ghost.
There's nothing quite like owning a Rolls-Royce.
Watch MASH, weekdays at 5:30 on WHTM.
The final score of the first match, Tom Milton with 10 strikes, shooting a 275 game, defeating the first left-hander in the championship round so far this year, Brad Snell. And Dick Weber, Tom Milton, once again with the big start, he could be awfully tough against this young man, this son of yours, who has really a lot of experience, Peter.
Well, you're certainly right there, Bo, because I crossed with Tom Milton. I watched him bowl 18 qualifying games when I did, and he bowled tremendous. And then watching him bowl in the finals, and of course watching Pete bowl in the finals, I feel we're going to have a very close and tight match.
Tom Milton, the lower of the 2 finishers, does not have the choice of the starting lane. Pete Weber says, I want you to start, Tom. I want to finish the match. on the left-hand lane. So Milton, winner 275 first match, goes against a very tough Pete Weber, who won this from the number 3 position in 1985. Ready for action. Big hit, goes to the sideboard, whips the head pin over into the 4-5-7 area, and he's off to a quick start as you see the powerful wide breaking hook of Tom Milton. Takes the head pin and throws it to the sideboard.
Let's watch the head pin go to the right, carry up forward, and then into the 7.
Milton's got it all. He's hit the high hit and the light hit and the solid hit. Now here's Pete. Pete Weber going a little wide, and really that's not a bad move when you come out of a championship round. You come over to the championship pair, keep the ball a little wide, don't start with a split, give your opponent an easy opening at the start. Peter, a simple spare of the 2-pin.
Very fast on spares too, Bo. He's just so confident, goes hard at the spares, doesn't allow for any hook at all.
When Pete was young, Dick, and obviously you at that time were on the top of the pack in the 60s and the 70s, did you give him any advice on throwing this big hook ball? Because we all know what kind of style you have, very little hook. So.
Sorry you brought that up, Bo, but no, Pete emulated Mark Roth. He liked the high backswing, he liked the big hook, and he's more or less self-taught. When he gets in trouble, he goes to his brother Rich.
Rich, one of the many boys of Dick Weber, 3 Weber boys. And there's that staccato chant we heard from the crowd last night, urging Pete Weber on as he just rips the rack open, avoids the soft 10-pin. Is Tom Milton, very diligent up there, have a good pre-shot maneuver, takes his time. The PBA allows only 15 seconds from the time your opponent completes the frame and moves off the approach until you get up and start making your shot. Tom Milton precariously close to that amount of time. He would at first receive a warning from tournament director Harry Golden if it persists. Once again, Milton, 32 years old, 6 feet 3 inches tall, 190 pound, leaves the 10-pin, opts for the harder ball, Dick.
Yes, and it's a smart move on his part to go to the harder ball. And you know, he said when he gets in trouble, he has to throw too hard. That's when he really gets into trouble. So he's got to keep himself slow all the time to make sure he gets the good carry. Making the 10-pin without any struggle at all. The match is even thus far.
As you look at Tom, he has that arm brace or arm wrap around his right elbow. A number of years back, he had tendonitis and used that to support the elbow, and he just kind of got used to it. As you see, it's becoming a little shriveled. He says it's just a crutch now. He's gotten so used to wearing it all the time. Not necessary to prevent tennis elbow anymore. Just makes him feel comfortable.
Must be a ex-pitcher.
The way he twists that bowling ball, you might figure something like that. Solid in the hole. Tom Milton evens the match through 3. As we see Peter coming up, wiping the oil or conditioner off the bowling ball so that it rolls the same way every time. Can take the lead with a strike here in the 3rd. Soft 10, Dick.
Left the 2-pin, and then he made a little adjustment, went a little more direct, left the soft 10, half 10, weak 10, it's a doggone 10-pin.
Cross lane, Pete straightened that ball out, using a lot of speed.
And here's my son's profile, 5-step delivery, pushes out on the first ball and down on the second, back on the 3. A real high backswing, as you'll see, with Rick Steelsmith. Coming through in the 4th and keeping that good knee bend, and sort of chugs at the old follow-through there. I didn't like the follow-through at all there. Hesitated a little bit too much.
Pete, 4th frame, match all even. Perfect shot there as Pete Weber keeps the match even through 4 frames. We'll be back in a moment.
My dandruff shampoo is good.
Maybe you should try something else. My dandruff shampoo really works.
Maybe you should try something else, like Selsun Blue. Doctors and pharmacists recommend Selsun Blue more than all other leading brands combined. What that means to you is no leading brand gets rid of dandruff better than Selsun Blue. It's #1.
And all Selsun Blue formulas, including extra conditioning and extra medicated, have the ingredient recommended most by doctors.
Dentists warn, the #1 dental problem isn't cavities. It isn't tartar. It's plaque, building up on your teeth every day. And no matter how much you brush, you don't get enough plaque off your teeth, especially in hard-to-reach places. The problem is plaque. That's why there's Plaques. Rinse with Plaques before brushing, and you'll remove 300% more plaque than brushing alone. Plaques. Original flavor and now new soft mint. Removes 300% more plaque than brushing alone.
Olympic medalists light up the ice in a special from Paris. The NutraSweet Night of Champions on ABC's Wide World of Sports today following the opening ceremony of the Winter Olympics.
Coming up after the Professional Bowlers Tour at 2:30 Eastern Time, the opening ceremony of the Olympics. 3 weekends of Olympics on ABC. This weekend, next weekend, and the final weekend of February. And then later on this evening, you can see the United States Olympic hockey team take on Austria. An exciting day of sports here on ABC. Now here's Milton. Strike working in the 3rd frame. Tie match. Can take the lead if he can double here in the 4th. Too soft, 4-7-10, Dick.
Really soft and seemed to lose the ball right at the release. He just
cuts right through the middle, Dick.
The ball will go right through the middle, leaving these 2 pins here, the 4, 7, and 10 pin, and you'll have to cut the 4 pins, slide it across.
Good attempt, but something to think about there, too, is the pin count. When you have a strike up, every time you leave an extra pin standing, we talked to Tom Milton earlier and asked him about the special appearance he's going to miss this afternoon.
Well, back home we run a tournament for the juniors once a year, and I'm involved with it. I was supposed to be there today with hopefully some of the other pros to sign some autographs and just talk to the kids. So I'd like to say hi to all the kids back there at the George Litz Memorial Tournament, and sorry I can't be there, but something came up, and hope you all bowl well, and I'll try and do my best.
A product of the junior program comes up in the 5th frame. Saws him out. Comes back with a strike. That leaves a wide open door for Pete Weber, who won this tournament in 1985, Dick. And if there's any one thing that Pete wants to prove, I know he was a little bit disappointed in not being named Player of the Year this year after that great year he had last year.
Well, that's right, Bo. He was disappointed. In fact, his mother and I were both disappointed, but that's the way the breaks go. We felt the players didn't read close enough, or the sports writers either. That's one of those things.
Okay, everybody's entitled to their opinion. Pete Weber takes that strike from the 4th, makes a double with it in the 5th, and extends his lead over Tom Milton to 24 pins. You see the powerful, well-controlled ball. Pete drives all 10 pins in the pit. The ball cuts through the 1, 3, hits the 5, deflects into the 9. He loves it.
The tiger eyes, Bo. He's has those tiger eyes, the fire, the desire.
All you Germans have that, right?
You ought to know.
I was a victim of the Webers many times. He's a 34-pin lead as he opens up 3 strikes in a row.
I might say, Bo, we were victims of the Burtons, too.
All right, the high profile of Pete, the snap wrist. You see that little confident follow-through. The walk. He likes the result. Opens up a 34-pin lead over Tom Milton. Tom, high hit in the 4th frame on this right-hand lane. Needs to get some strikes working, put some pressure on Pete. Pretty good shot there, Dick.
Yes, he was. He had a nice loft to it. Greater speed that time. Stayed with the ball that time, too. He didn't jerk back. Here's the hit. Coming up, and watch the pin. Ball just hit the 5 pin. Just did nudge it.
Another good point you brought up there. When a ball hooks a little bit high, you put a little extra loft on it, delays the hook. That's what Milton did there in the 6th frame. Got the proper result. Can now cut the lead of Pete Weber's down to 14 with another strike. Tom Milton cuts the lead of Pete Weber down to 14. We'll be back with the conclusion after this.
In Ricky Rudd's high-torque V8, clean-running Quaker State with QSX provides unbeatable protection from wear and tear.
And the oil that protects my car on the track is the same oil you buy right off the shelf.
The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
I've tried it. Now I believe it. Denorex Tingles tells me it's doing more. Head and Shoulders, no tingle.
Both have dandruff medicine, but Denorex adds both an extra anti-itch medicine and conditioner, too.
Goodbye, Head and Shoulders. Hello, Denorex.
Dave, new phones come on Monday.
Right.
Computer Thursday. And I think we're ready for that bookkeeper.
Oh, great. Does she load boxes?
Dave, I got us the extra truck.
My partner, Santa Claus.
You can't always prepare for success, but you can count on Ryder to help you handle it with the right truck at the right time.
What about a driver?
David, you're doing a great job.
Ryder. We're there at every turn.
60,000 roar, and the arena comes alive. You're representing your country in the ultimate athletic competition. The pageantry, the spectacle, the unparalleled history. The Olympic tradition continues. Next on ABC Sports.
In the second match, Pete Weber, who was leading at one time by 34 pins, has now had his lead cut by Tom Milton down to just 14. Has 3 strikes working up in the 7th frame.
The reason he blows in that thumb hole, Bo, is to make sure that he has a nice feel of the thumb, and it keeps it a little moist in there, a little tight.
There's a hit that Pete Weber's daddy carried a number of years ago, but he has to have the head pin do the job now on the 5. His son can do it with the ball. The ball cuts through the 1-3, accentuates right in and cuts the 5 out, tears out the 7. He answers Tom Milton's turkey with 4 strikes of his own and has regained a 24-pin lead through 7.
Nowadays, my bowling ball goes the other way, though, Bo.
Well, if it gets a little weaker, you can have the 3-pin take out the 5, Dick. All right, Pete Weber, 4 strikes in a row, 8th frame.
Boy, he looks sharp. Got a great follow-through, good extension with that arm.
Watch this arm swing, watch this wrist action, and watch this trajectory as Pete Weber extends his lead to 34.
And it's all in one motion, too, Bo. That's the nice thing. When he hesitates a little bit at the release, that's when he leaves the weak 10 or goes a little bit high. But everything's nice and fluid right now.
Boy, and that is so important that a player can make that powerful lift motion in one motion, not stop and have to jerk on it. Now, Milton, can he answer the bell here? Trails by 34, 8th frame.
No problem. That ball was a little wider than the one before, Bo. Had a slower speed, good follow-through. These fellows are really putting on a show.
A dandy shot by Tom Milton as the St. Petersburg native can cut the lead of Pete Weber's down to 14. Once again, key 9th frame. He'll be in trouble if he doesn't strike here.
It's a good old foundation frame, Bo. Good concentration there.
Ball up. He rolled it back on his wrist, snapped that wrist through, and once again it's back and forth, back and forth. Good match game competition, high scores as Tom Milton keeps the pressure on Pete Weber. And the real crux of a professional bowler, if you're going to make it on the Professional Bowlers Tour, is not the ability to throw a lot of strikes in the middle of the game. It's the ability to close out an opponent and throw a lot of strikes at the end. The match is still up for grabs. The 3, 4, 6, 7, 10, an unusual split, Dick. And how would he make this, Dick, if you see the ball cutting right through the middle?
Oh, he's going to have to take the ball's cutting through the head pin here and leaving the 3, 6, 10, 4, 7. And he's going to have to take the 3 pin to the right, slide it over to the 4 pin.
Needs this to keep the lead. not to be in a lead which was only 34 pins just 3 frames ago, has found himself in arrears by 5 pins. A disastrous split in the 5th frame, Dick. What would you tell Pete right now as he has gone from a chance to lock out Tom Milton to still having a chance to win the match, but he's trailing by 5?
Well, naturally, to keep everything fluid, but keep down with the ball. That ball before, he reared at the foul line, and that's caused him to pull the ball to the head pin and leaving a wild split.
Pete sends it wide, tries to use that power to take out the 7 pin, not to be. Pete has a best of 221. Right now, Tom Milton is going at a 226 pace, so Pete is going to need some misfortune by Tom Milton to win this match.
Well, as Yogi Berra said, it's not over until it's over, but on the other hand, you have to say that Tom Milton has the upper hand, because he did get a split of in the 4th frame of the 4-7-10. So
Pete finishes with 220. Milton turning to the side, asking official scorers Frank Esposito and Harry Golden exactly what he needs, and it's simply this. He needs a good count and a mark, and he would go on to meet the next left-hander, who's in the number 2 position, Dennis Horan Jr. Must mark.
The count is a must, Bo, a good count. He doesn't want to leave anything more than 1 pin.
That's a winner, Dick.
Yes, that is, Bo. And he bowled very well that particular game. Made 1 bad shot in the 4th frame. Everything else has been in the pocket. Pete made the 1 mistake in the 9th frame, which you never want to make a mistake in the 9th frame, because that's what we call the foundation frame. So it's one of those penalties.
Tom Milton, a potential 235 game. And he will go on to meet Dennis Horan. And in match number 3, you're going to see another left-hander, Dennis Horan Jr., going against Tom Milton. See if Tom can win his third consecutive match. And today's Old Spice tip of the week features a rule that all league bowlers should know. Watch and listen.
Today's Old Spice tip of the week is brought to you by Old Spice Fast Track Wide Deodorant. It blocks odor better.
Now, what happens if a player puts talcum powder on his bowling ball or rosin on his ball? You must wipe all foreign substances off the outside edge of the ball before you can roll it. You can leave no substance on the ball or anything that may come off on the lane surface.
Now let Bo help you score even more. You'll also fix problems, improve strategy, and practice smarter with Bo Burton's new bowling video.
This video is for you.
ABC Sports and Old Spice bring you Bo Burton's new instructional video, Score More. Just $24.98 plus $3 shipping. Call 1-800-4ABC-VCR. That's 1-800-4ABC-VCR.
It's more effective than the leading men's deodorant. It's been proven better in clinical tests at blocking odor. It's Old Spice Fast Track Wide Deodorant. It blocks odor better.
Tom Milton has won his 2nd consecutive match, averaging 255 as he defeats Pete Weber 235 to 220, and going against a very tough left-hander and Dennis Horan Jr. in the semifinal match. And Dick, there's 160 players started the field today. This week, 207 average for everybody, 216 to make the top 24.
And here's the other top finishers, Bo. In 6th place, Steve Anderson, Hugh Miller in 7th, Tommy Maurice in 8th place, and Big Steve Cook 9th, Chris Warren, and Tom Kreitz, one of our champions, Tom Baker, another one of our champions, Rod Pasteur 13th, and Mark Baker, who lost all 8 games last night, didn't have a good night, Bob Newhart, Randy Pedersen, Chuck McGovern, Dale Eagle, Ron Bell, And here comes Joe Merrill and John Mazza, the left-hander out of Detroit. Tom Agee out of Akron, Ohio. And Jeff Rickles out of Madison, Wisconsin, finishing 24th.
And 53 spots were paid this week. Our statistician Palmer Falgren received $505 for 53rd spot. And one of the interesting parts of the tournament is the Pro-Am section on Monday and Tuesday before we go on the air. And Audrey Rogers was the Pro-Am winner in this tournament that is so highly promoted by the brilliant John I. Smith, the local friend of ours who has been a great friend of the PBA for years and is responsible for the great response we have here in the South Florida area. Now, Dick, as we take a look at lanes 13 and 14, here's how it's gone so far. The strikes on 13 pretty much favor that lane as being the easier of the two lanes. Of course, the pivotal lane has been lane 14 with the open frames. Watch Dennis Horan Jr. still warming up. As each opponent comes on, he gets an additional couple of practice balls. Our tournament leader, Rick Steelsmith, will have 10 practice balls. And now they're ready for action. Semifinal match. A man who has never made it to the championship round, Dennis Horan Jr., going against the veteran red-hot Tom Milton.
And it's unusual for a bowler coming on, Bo, to elect to start the match, because generally you want to let the other fellow start the match. You finish the match first and start off with that first 2 frames with a double, but he chose the opposite.
Interesting. Plus, Milton also had an open on that lane. What a way to start. He throws that first ball down there as confidently as he possibly can. He just rips the 5 over into the 6-10 zone as we see some of the new breed of left-handers, the power outside line 5 drills out the 6-10, and he has to love this. Look at that good deep knee bend. Boom, what a way to start.
Happy with the results? You know, Bo, this week the average age was 26 years of age.
Is that for the top 5 finishers? I looked back over the records a few years back, Dick. 1965, the average winner on the PBA Tour was 33 years of age. 1987, it dropped to 27 years of age as Tom Milton, as you look at his mother, Tam, who's has to be, that's Tam Milton. Darlene Milton is Tom's wife, who is not here. That's all right. As we see Tom Milton, who was waiting for a re-rack on an opposite lane, ready to start. Semifinal match.
Came over and got the 10 pin. As they see the ball hit the pocket. Watch here. Now we'll go over here, and here comes the head pin all the way over to carry the 10 pin out.
Good break for Milton. Simple spare. Tom Milton, who was actually in the moving business before he came on the Professional Bowlers Tour, had a few years at the start where he struggled, and in 1983 put it all together as he won 3 PBA titles. Probably the most memorable is when he won the Showboat, and then coming back at ABC's telecast of the Hartford Open, defeating Earl Anthony in the clutch in a championship match. So far, he's won 2 matches today. Fabulous 255 average.
There again, Bo, the 5 pin not quite getting to the 7 pin. That ball is more or less, I would say, rolling out, as we call it in the industry, where the ball hits the pocket, but it deflects so much that it really doesn't throw that 5 into the 7.
All right, another easy spare for Tom Milton. And coming up next, we have the opening ceremonies of the Olympics, and then the NutraSweet Night of Figure Skating at 5 o'clock Eastern Time. New time for ABC's Wide World of Sports. And then don't forget this evening the hockey game, where the United States takes on Austria in its quest for Olympic gold in ice hockey. Now, the newcomer, Dennis Horan Jr., first appearance in a championship round, can take the lead by 11 pins with a strike.
Wasn't happy at all with the release. Rare to foul line, which causes everybody to pull the ball to the head pin, Bo, and you've got to stay down with that ball, stay with the ball, so you get that good extension.
Cross lane for the 2-4 spare. This conversion would still lead by 1. Nips it on the outside, and we see the profile of Dennis Horan Jr.
4-step delivery bowler. Pushes the ball out on the first step. Keeps those shoulders in the high backswing with the right arm for balance. Look at the knee bend. Rears up a little bit. Not quite happy with the follow through at all.
Taking his time. Dick, can you remember the first time you were in a championship round, what the nerves were like?
Yes, I can, boy. I was very nervous. And in fact, I still get nervous when I'm on the seniors championship round once in a while. But yes, it still works on me.
No problem with that shot, as Dennis Horan Jr. proved that he could hit the left-hand lane, lane 13 at the 72-lane Don Carter Kendall lanes. And here's the front view of Dennis Horan. Good arm swing, arm very close to that right sliding leg. Important, good extension, follow through, playing between the second and third arrows on the left side, and drills all 10 pins in the pit. Now, Tom Milton, winner of 2 matches, trails by 1, third frame. Here's a very unusual shot, Dick.
We'll watch the ball hit the pocket. And the ball...
It just cuts right through, doesn't it, Dick?
Yes, it does. The ball just cuts right through and goes left of the 9-pin, where generally it deflects off the 5-pin into the 9-pin.
A question arises. Are the urethane bowling balls too strong for professional bowlers?
Well, sometimes it's that, and sometimes it's the urethane finish that we have on the lanes, and also we have a very dry back end.
Take it one step further then, Dick. Do you think that the equipment that we use in professional bowling compared to the equipment that was used at the professional level 20 years ago is just a little too good for us and kind of takes some of the sport out of the game?
Well, that's been said, but still in all, it's the same old thing. You have to end up in the pocket and carry the strikes, Bo. So it's a controversy, that's for sure.
Very diplomatic. All right. Tom Milton trails by 2 up in the 4th frame. Against Dennis Horan Jr. We'll be back after this.
Can I have a hot dog?
Honey, you just had one. And your father had to eat it.
Yeah, big eyes.
And he had to eat your cotton candy.
He didn't have to.
Now you tell me.
Heartburn?
Oh, you got it.
No, you do. That's why I always carry Pepto.
Here it comes. The soothing relief of Pepto-Bismol. The one that coats is the only one you need.
How's the heartburn?
What heartburn? Hey, you gonna finish that?
Yeah.
Oh.
We've been here too long.
Kathy Durham looks cool under pressure. But just because her blouse is dry doesn't mean she smells good. Because underarm odor is invisible, she needs Sure Roll-On. Sure helps protect against wetness and kills bacteria that cause odor. So, Kathy, why go to school with a dry blouse and a false sense of security? Tomorrow, use Sure Roll-On and be just as sure about odor as you are about wetness.
Thanks.
Olympic medalists light up the ice in a special from Paris. The NutraSweet Night of Champions on ABC's Wide World of Sports today following the opening ceremony of the Winter Olympics.
Coming up later on this evening, 8 o'clock Eastern, the United States faces off against Austria. Dick Weber in hockey, and I know you're a hockey fan. Who do you like in that game, pal?
Well, Bo, I like the United States. They've been training very hard, and I like the way they've been going lately. So I'm picking the United States naturally.
How about for the gold all the way? Russia's always given us a little problem. What do you think?
We're going to trounce Russia this year.
You got him. Al Michaels, tell him that. All right, Dennis Horan leads by 2. Strike working in the 3rd can extend his lead over 2-time victor so far today, Tom Milton. 4th frame. liked that shot, but he didn't quite get the result he wanted. A 7-pin, he went high, made the adjustment, Dick, on the approach as he quickly picks up a shiny ball to cut down his hook, cut down the surface friction, convert the spare. He would again lead by 2 pins.
You'll find most bowlers do that, Bo. They'll throw hard at the pin and with a shiny ball, like I say.
Dennis Horan Jr. was always a part-timer on the tour, and now he's trying it at full-time, and I asked him why.
Well, Bo, I just bowled in the regionals at first, and I got a little success, and I finally picked up a sponsor, and it's got me out on the tour full-time this year. I was just bowling the Western region because of the fact that I was exempt through the regional, so hopefully I can keep it going and end up being exempt for the whole tour.
A man who has won 5 regional tournaments, 2 of them being in Hawaii, not a bad place to win. Right now leads the match by 2 pins, 5th frame. Solid.
Same thing Brad Snell had trouble with was that solid 7-pin. Another thing, you just can't make too many adjustments on that bowl. Maybe a little bit less speed, or maybe you just move in a half a board or board. Sounds ridiculous, but that's what some of the pros do.
Precision game, professional bowling. Down to a quarter of a board, you have to be very cool under pressure. Tom Milton, who won his first match against Brad Snell, 275. And his second match, 235 over Pete Weber, 220. Now goes against Dennis Horan, who is leading by 1. Milton can take the lead with a double.
Notice an interesting point there, Bo. When he pushes out with the left hand, he doesn't push. He opens the hand and then gets into the balance of the left arm. Very unusual type of thing. Most bowlers push with the left hand, but he just lets go.
Good point, Dick. He's very tentative trying to aim that ball, and anybody who would use something like he has that index finger device to guide his arm swing is very pronounced in his push away. Is good for accuracy, but sometimes gets you a little tight as he has some disturbance off to the side. Once again, Tom Milton showing his experience. Stops, resets, starts all back over. Gets the rosin, gets it on the fingers, wipes it off, cleans the ball off, and he's ready to go.
You noticed when he put the rosin on the bowling ball, he wiped it off immediately and then put the rosin back on the table. That's a PBA rule. He can't put it on the ball return because we don't want it to get in the other player's bowling ball.
Or on their feet. All right, Milton takes a 19-pin lead as the Pro Bowlers Tour is coming down to an end. We're in the semifinal match, and don't forget that right after the Professional Bowlers Tour today will be the opening ceremony of the 15th Olympic Games right here on ABC. A full menu of sports activities right on through the afternoon and evening. Now, Dennis Horan trails by 19, 6th frame.
I would say at this point, boy, he has to get busy because he knows what Tom Milton has done in the last 2 matches. So he wants to start striking here, for sure.
Almost. He really leans on it, Dick. Once again, the 7-pin for the 3rd consecutive frame stops Dennis Horan Jr.
Another weak 10, or 7, and here the 4-pin sets in the gutter, leaving that 7-pin.
As you said, a minor adjustment needed. Just a little less speed, a little more angle, a little more lift on the ball, and he would have 3 strikes in a row. And there's the parents of Dennis Horan, who his father, Dennis Sr., runs a automotive repair shop in Santa Clara, California. And Dennis, before he came on the tour, used to do a lot of work for his daddy. He says he can make money a little bit faster today out here on the Pro Bowlers Tour than he did working by the hour for his dad.
And let's say happy birthday to Dennis Horan Sr., his 46th birthday today, Bo.
A young man with an even younger father there. All right, Horan trails by 20. What a break, Dick.
Got the break. Right off the wall.
And he trails by 20 pins. We'll be back to see if he can win the match after this.
Users of nasal sprays invariably encounter the same problem.
Warm voice.
Sprays that roll out of their nose or drip back into their throat. To avoid this, they'll do just about anything. But now there's new Sinex Ultrafine Mist. Its medicine doesn't roll out or drip back. It goes up and stays up, and that makes it better. So try new Sinex Ultrafine Mist. It goes up and stays up. From Vicks, of course.
You give your all to all you do. Don't settle for less from your shampoo. Wash and go Pert Plus.
Ordinary shampoo can't give you this kind of manageability. You need Pert Plus, with a unique combination of effective shampoo for cleaning, plus conditioner for control, all in one. For great, easy-to-manage hair, it's one of a kind.
Just one shampoo does it all for you. Wash and go.
With shampoo, conditioner in one.
Pert Plus.
ABC's Olympic tradition continues. The pageantry, the drama, the spectacle of the opening ceremony live from Calgary. Next on ABC Sports.
Tom Milton, who struck in the 7th frame while we were away, left a soft 10 here in the 8th. Needs to convert this spare to maintain his 29-pin lead over left-hander Dennis Horan Jr. And for Dennis Horan, it's a must-go time. Tom Milton has been very tough at the end of all of his 2 previous matches, his semifinal match being no exception. Horan around the pocket the last 4 frames, needs to throw a double. Has not yet had a double through 7. Strike working in the 7th.
2 soft 7s and a 2-4 lead on this particular lane, so you still got to make that adjustment.
7-pin once again, Dick, and it looked like he did slow up a little bit, put a little extra on the ball, just not to be.
Just no drive on the end where the dry area is. He just didn't get it, didn't have the revs on the ball. Like you say, he did slow up, but it just didn't work out for him.
Dennis Horan going at a 198 pace. Tom Milton 227. Horan looks to the side to the automatic scorer. Our scoreboard tells the story very simply. Horan's been around the pocket every frame but the 2nd, leaving 7 pins in the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 8th frame. Must put some strikes together, get some pressure on Tom Milton. Tom Milton cogitating there on what he has to do. You know, Dick, oftentimes we see right-handers leave a lot of 10 pins when the oil or conditioner carries down the lane. You can't get the finish, but it's pretty unusual to see a lefty leave 7-pin after 7-pin.
Well, you're right, and you know, my suggestion, of course, it's a little late in the game to make a suggestion like this, but I would use a different weighted bowling ball, either a negative thumb and thumb, or a positive and thumb, one way or the other.
Something to get the ball rolling a little quicker.
Definitely opposite what he's using, that's for sure.
Tom Milton, who spends a lot of time in the St. Petersburg area helping the young bowlers, started as a youngster himself, a junior program at the age of 12, has had good coaching, which I believe most professionals need today to make it to Pro Bowlers Tour and be successful. Has good coaching all his life, leads by 30.
What a nice release. Just beautiful speed, beautiful roll on the ball, beautiful follow through, and as the ball rolls into the pocket, this so solid, carries all 10 pins into the pit.
Slides not really precariously close, an inch is not too much, and it reminds me a little bit of a player you bowled against, one of the greats of all time, Ned Day, with that big hook ball, Dick.
Exactly right, Paul.
To lock up the match. That's a winner. The best that Dennis Horan Jr. can do is 207. Tom Milton, even if he missed this spare, would be well in the 2 teens. And the Professional Bowlers Tour continues to provide great action week after week. The semifinal match has gone to Milton. The Professional Bowlers Tour will continue after this message and a word from our local stations.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes taste like what morning should taste like.
There's something about the taste.
It's fresh, it's clean, it's a good way to start your day.
The satisfaction.
It hits the spot. I have a spot that only Kellogg's Corn Flakes will cover.
The simplicity.
You pour the Kellogg's Corn Flakes, put some milk on it, some fresh fruit, you got a perfect breakfast.
That make Kellogg's Corn Flakes part of a breakfast people feel special about.
Oh, what a way to start the day.
Corn Flakes from Kellogg's. What more could you want from a cereal? Now, Alka-Seltzer Plus Cold Medicine introduces a new nighttime formula.
It helped clear my sinuses where the pressure builds up so I could breathe and sleep better.
New Alka-Seltzer Plus Nighttime Cold Medicine. Nothing puts your cold to sleep faster. On This Week with David Brinkley. The New Hampshire primary could hold as many surprises as Iowa. Candidates Bob Dole and Albert Gore talk about their chances Sunday.
It shouldn't be difficult to buy an appliance, television, or VCR, but unfortunately, this is what you're likely to see. At M&L Appliance Town, I'm putting an end to all the confusion. Clearly and simply, we have the lowest price, guaranteed. At M&L Appliance Town, buy this 19-inch cable-ready remote control color TV, incredible at $178. Get more for less at M&L Appliance Town.
Attention homeowners, if you need money for any reason at all, the Money Store is the place to go. We're where you are, offering fixed rates, second mortgage loans, as low as today's prime rate of 8 3/4%. Phone the Money Store toll-free. One call approval of qualified homeowners. Be sure to ask about the Money Store sponsored MasterCard. No annual fee for the first year. Dial 1-800-221-9000.
Watch Janelle Stelson with weather on 27 News at 6.
Question is from Frida Eggert of Libby, Montana, and it goes like this. Dear Bo, American Bowling Congress Rule D5 for Seniors League says that players must be at least 55 years old to compete, yet on the Professional Bowlers Tour, I see the senior circuit requires only an age of 50. What is the difference? It's simply this. American Bowling Congress rules say that you must be 55 unless your spouse bowls in that same league to get awards for seniors participation. The Professional Bowlers Tour requires just an age of 50 because they have a number of things to compete with. Number 1, the younger players. Number 2, they have to complete the PBA school. And number 3, they have to have a minimum of a 190 average. We feel this is the only fair way for the senior players to compete with the young professionals. If you have an Ask Bo question, write me at this number. Ask Bo, Post Office Box 217, Ansonia Station, New York, New York 10023. And here's how the matches have gone so far for Tom Milton, who has won 3 matches, averaging better than 242. He defeated Brad Snell, 275-215. Then he took down Pete Weber, 235-220. Had an easy time with Dennis Horan Jr., who could not carry the 7-pin. Now he advances to the championship match against the highly touted Rick Steelsmith. And Dick, speaking of the Seniors Tour, you've bowled a lot of tournaments on the Seniors Tour. It's been a great tour. Maybe we'll see some of that on ABC.
Well, we're hoping so, Bo. We have 5 tournaments lined up this year, and we're hoping for more next year. And like you say, I hope ABC comes along.
All right, Tom Milton, who is entitled to 3 re-racks in each match, kind of looks over the set of the 10 pins on lane 13. He's set, ready to go, going against the highly touted young collegian, Rick Steelsmith. The veteran, Tom Milton, going for his 4th title.
Yes, he was. He certainly was. Happy with the result, but surprised by the way it stopped. And you see the ball is practically leaves the solid 9-pin, but the 7-pin comes over and gets the 9 out.
Amazing pin action. Now, here's a man that bowling fans will see a lot of in the years to come. Rick Steelsmith.
No, Bo, this gentleman here has really been wonderful. Watch the knee bend all the way through the approach and the high backswing, keeping his eye on the target and keeping the low left hand as a balance. Lower knee bend yet, coming through with a great follow-through, shoulder parallel to the foul line. You couldn't ask for any better style.
You know, Dick, I'm a golf fan, and this young man being from the Midwest, Kansas, he reminds me a little bit of a Tom Watson, as solid as he is at the line.
That's for sure.
Well, he let Tom Milton know that even though he's 23 years old and has never been the championship round on the PBA Tour, that he's here to play and win, as he starts off with 2 solid hits.
And the 6-pin kicking out that 10-pin nicely there, Bo. That's a sign of a good rolling ball.
No doubt. With 245 average, Tom Milton, been there many times before. He's a good winner. The man who wins this match will have to earn it. A little bit confident about that. He says, my goodness, if I send it out to about the 3rd board, it comes back to the pocket. If I only send it out to about the 10th board. Now look at this shot, Dick.
That's the scenic route ball. We call it, Bo. It goes out yonder and comes back yonder. Gee whiz.
Well, it's interesting that on the left-hand lane in the first frame, he only went out to about the 9th or 10th board. That means he has about 6 boards at the breaking point. With that powerful ball, it seems impossible that he could miss the pocket. Match is even.
And he can do it with that speed, Bo.
What unusual pin carry. He almost left the 6-7 split on a pocket hit. Watch this pin action, and watch the action of the 3rd pin on the right-hand part of your screen, the 3-pin. The ball hits the 1-3 and just driven straight back, almost chops off the 6. You talk about power, Dick. I'll tell you, I know you kind of avoid the question, but these bowling balls are a little too much for the pins. The pins have no way of fighting back. Now here's Steelsmith trying to match the turkey of Milton.
You know, Bo, I've watched this young man all week. He has definite great concentration and confidence. Just sometimes he seems like he has too much confidence. But I just can't get over the strength in his legs to keep that approach the way it is to the foul line. Just perfect.
Good point, Dick. And another point is to watch his head, how steady his head is all the way to the line, even though that body contorts in that high backswing and he's moving forward to throw that 16-pound spheroid at 20 miles an hour towards the back, and he's still smooth. Oh, yeah, what a start as Steelsmith starts with 4 strikes in a row. Milton 3 in a row. We'll be back with the rest of the championship match after this.
Great. Hope we wanted a Bud Light.
Bud Light! If you want the great taste of Bud Light, ask for it.
I'll go get pizza.
Bud Light. Because everything else is just alright.
There's a level of performance that separates the good from the great. That's why Carmen Salvino designed the Ebonite Thunderbolt. The exclusive power core increases gyroscopic action for a sharper hook on heavy oil. Thunderbolt rolls farther before hooking, so it hits harder for less deflection and more striking power. The difference between good and great is the power of the Thunderbolt.
2 of the most brilliant men I've ever met in the game of bowling, the founder of the PBA, the brilliant Eddie Elias on the left, and the great Don Carter from our hometown of St. Louis on the right. Don, the sponsor. Eddie gave us all a stage to play upon the Professional Bowlers Tour. Now, Tom Milton's 3 strikes in a row, needs a 4th strike to start the game just to stay even with the upstart Rick Steelsmith.
Very deliberate in his stance. Everything has to be perfect. Counts like an old-timer Ray Bluth used to.
Another one of your teammates. Well, Dick, I'll tell you, this match has all the signs of a match I recall at the Dick Weber bowling lanes years back. And I remember it was Tim Harahan and Larry Lobb starting with 9 strikes in a row and 1 10 strikes in a row. 2 great winners going against each other. And it looks no different in the opening 4 frames of this match. All even, everybody perfect.
Yes, you're right, Bo. I remember that match vividly, but also I remember another young gentleman back in 1980 or 1979 shot a TV record score named Nelson Burton Jr. Is that correct? 10:54, I believe it.
Well, I had 10:50, but I didn't have the players pushing me like this. Here's Milton, 4 strikes in a row, going for 5.
Oh, you could see that. You could see that week 10 coming up because the ball went too far in the slide. It never got into a good roll and never got into a good hook. It went too far and setting the 6-pin in the gutter, laying it there, not kicking the 10.
Good point, Dick. And the ball did not get quite as wide as it was before. So here's Milton converting the spare, keeps the pressure on Rick Steelsmith. Tour program director Jim Collins, whose dad Ev Collins was a great bowler on the Professional Bowlers Tour, asked Rick Steelsmith what his goals were for his first year on the Professional Bowlers Tour, and his goals were to be Rookie of the Year and Player of the Year. Now that may sound a little cocky, but he is the one player I've seen come out in the last, I'd say 15 years that really could fulfill that kind of ambition.
Mental mistake, Bo. Mental mistake. Rushed his shot a little bit. Never really thought it out.
And Steelsmith right through the middle.
And here, I would imagine he'll go to the 6-10 and try to bounce the pin to the pin cushion and coming over and trying to knock out the 4-7.
Just as you said, Dick, but not to be. An important part, he did not lose too much count. Once again, the 5th frame errant for Steelsmith as he gave the ball no room, started right up to the head pin, and with no low surface friction in the center of the lane to hold the ball back, Steelsmith has an open frame, the first chink in his armor here on the Professional Bowlers Tour, and has opened the gate for Milton. Let's see if he can collect his thoughts, as Milton's already has his, and return to the strike zone. Back in the pocket.
There again, Bo, this lost a little bit of concentration at the time, the shot before, and a little aggravated himself, too.
Well, he's a confident young man, but he doesn't have the experience of Tom Milton, and Tom Milton, who has just marched through this field of top players today, defeating 2 lefties and Pete Weber, is no man to take a back seat to anyone. He leads by 17, 6th frame.
Didn't like it. Come back.
You know what that might be, Dick? Tom Milton wears contact lenses, and sometimes with the fans and the air conditioning of all things blowing here at Don Carter Lanes as the weather is very comfortable out here in Miami, sometimes he fogs up the contacts and has to step back. And here's following us is the Olympic opening ceremony following the Pro Bowlers Tour, which will end in about 15 minutes, but the champion has yet to be decided. Here's Milton, 6th frame.
Comes over and carries the 10-pin out. Here we go, Bo. The ball is hitting the pocket, the 1-3 pocket. But here again, the head pin comes across, starts rolling again, and comes over and knocks out the old 10-pin. Great break for Tom Milton.
I tell you, the big power players of the tour, the Holmans, the Ross, the Miltons, even this young Steelsmith gets some amazing strikes. They create a lot of strikes that the average player cannot get. Now, let's see if Milton can take advantage of that break and increase his lead to 27. Not to be.
You know, also, he's flirting with what we call a 7-10 pocket hit, Bo, because he's so slow. He's coming in behind the 10 pin, and sometimes that throws the 5 in front of the 7, leaves the 6 pin in front of the 10. So he's flirting a little bit with that 7-10, but you still have to hit that pocket.
Milton to maintain the lead. Two different styles here, Dick, huh?
Here's the profile of both bowlers. Here's Tom Milton, 5-step delivery. Watch the backswing now, going no higher than hip. Keeping lead bend, follow through. Watch Rick Steelsmith. Ball going over the head. Good knee bend, good follow through. Contrast deliveries. Take either one you like.
It's more power or revolutions on the bowling ball with the least amount of hook of anybody I've seen come on the Pro Bowlers Tour. People talk about hook, but it's not really the trick. It's revolutions. And his ball's turning over some 12 to 15 times in that 60 feet between the foul line and the head pin without breaking much. And when you have that control and still that revolution on the ball, Dick, you got to throw a lot of strikes. And right now he can retake the lead with a third strike in a row here in the 8th frame.
Right, and he's doing it with such great speed, too. A little bit faster than Tom Milton.
You know, when a player throws the ball and starts running it out immediately like Rick Steelsmith, he's confident that he's throwing the best shot he can do on that lane, and the ball didn't finish, so we may see what we call a little oil carry down on the left-hand lane, Dick, and it's affecting the carry in the right-hand part of the screen.
Right, and he seemed to rev that ball up a little bit more yet because the head pin flew, and it flew practically all the way over back to the 10 pin.
Steelsmith to trail by 8. Now Tom Milton. He's gone through 3 opponents. As his final opponent, trailing by 8 pins, 8th frame. It's fess-up time. This is where matches are won on the Professional Bowlers Tour. Championship time. Boy, he was disturbed, Dick, on his 3rd step. Somebody dropped a paper cup back here, and really as quiet as it is in a bowling center during the championship round is really disturbing. Normally that wouldn't bother a player at all, but it's an unusual setting we have here with everybody being so quiet. He reared up at the line, left the 3-6-10 spare, needs this to maintain a 5-pin lead.
Right, that's an unfortunate thing happened to a bowler because, like you say, it is so quiet in here. Even the pin dropping causes a noise a lot of times. Now, the best thing that he can do, Bo, is forget the cup that dropped and get back to his real game, his real concentration game, because this is the foundation frame. This is the frame that he definitely wants to strike in.
All right, 42 games for Steelsmith, 45 games rolled all this week for Tom Milton, and yet it comes down to a 2-frame match. Milton has the edge by 5 pins, 9th frame. Ten pin. Look at Milton's game. He starts with 4 strikes in a row and leaves a 10 pin on the left-hand lane in the 5th, a 10 pin in the 7th, and once again a 10 pin in the 9th, Dick. He is keeping the ball in play, not defeating himself, but once again he doesn't have that foundation strike.
That's for sure. He's carrying the ball a little bit too long in the middle, not swinging the ball out quite enough to get the ball back. But like you say, he's keeping the ball in play, not getting in any trouble.
Now Steelsmith has been through a little bit of baptism of fire at the amateur level. He threw 2 strikes in the 9th and 10th frames to win the National Collegiate Championship for Wichita State last year by the way, which is ranked #1 again in the collegiate rankings this year. He threw a bunch of strikes to win the American Bowling Congress Masters Championship, but now it's the Pro Bowlers Tour.
Oh, it's there. You talk about pressure. This boy's been around before, hasn't he?
You know, I asked him before the championship round, I says, you know, do you feel the pressure? He says, you know, the most nervous I ever was in my whole life is when I needed to strike in the 10th frame to win the National Collegiate Championship. And you're talking about a young fellow who's had plenty of international competition. He's bowled in Helsinki. He's bowled all over the world. He's won all over the world. But he's never defeated all the pros in a PBA tournament. This is his rookie year. Right now, he has a chance to take the lead in this match for the first time. He needs this strike.
And a lot of that credit goes to Coach Gordon Vatican, his coach in Wichita, Kansas, to take the lead.
Oh, my goodness gracious. The 8th frame, he throws a terrific shot, leaves some people call it the soft hand. You cannot call this a soft hand. Steelsmith saws the rack apart. Head pin comes back across, and actually the 6 pin stops it, Dick.
Right-o, the 6 pin lead right in front of the 10 and stop that pin from knocking the 10 pin down.
Still can win the match. Needs to make this spare and hope that the wheels come off of Milton.
Well, also count is very, very important to Rick Steelsmith here. He wants a strike here. You know, he's only behind 4 pins, so a bad count by Tom Milton could change things, even possible tie.
Good point. Possible 221 for a young man that I guarantee you're going to see a lot of more times on the PBA Tour. Wichita's Steelsmith. Where was that shot in the 10th when I needed it?
A little disappointed, but I think he's very proud. It's not over with yet. Tom Milton needs a good count. Naturally, he's going to try to get the...
Does Milton become protective with his shot, Dick, or just go for the strike?
He's got to go for the strike. Got to go for the strike.
All right, Tom Milton, 10th frame, has a 4-pin lead. Needs to fill 17 pins at the 10th to take home the Miami Championship.
When you try to play safe, it's a mistake, Bo.
Good tip.
Always felt that way.
Well, there's a safe spot right there, partner.
That's for sure. A clutch strike, a clutch strike.
Well, last week we saw Marshall Holman just weed through the group of 4 opponents to win the championship from the first match. For the 2nd consecutive week, a player has come from the first match to win the championship. Tom Milton is going to be the winner. That's a winner. We'll be back with the final score. With Tom Milton is the winner. We'll be back after this message. The Professional Bowler Tour has been brought to you by Kellogg's Bran Flake Cereal, by Quaker State Motor Oil with QSX, and by Bud Light, proud sponsor of the 1988 U.S. Olympic team.
In auto racing, the big Q stands for quality. Quaker State's 11,000 RPM Porsche. Kenny Bernstein's 3,000 horsepower funny car. Ricky Rudd's high torque V8. These great racing engines demand the great name in motor oil. Quaker State with QSX. Proven to run clean for unbeatable protection from wear and tear.
And the Quaker State that protects all these engines on the track is the same oil you buy right off the shelf.
Quaker State, the big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
Thanks again, boys, and keep the change. You hear all this nonsense about Kellogg's Frosted Flakes being just for kids. Well, I, for one, eat them, and I'm going to go right on eating them. Frosted Flakes just for kids, come on. Like we adults have to go sneaking around, like we can't love these crisp, sweet flakes just as much as kids. Who is it?
You just have to admit it. Frosted Flakes have the taste adults have grown to love. They're great.
Trust your car's performance to luck, and someday it just may bite the hand that doesn't feed it. Give your car the good life with STP gas treatment.
I had to try this to believe it. Denerex tingles. Tells me it's doing more. Selsun Blue, no tingle.
Both Denerex and regular Selsun Blue have dandruff medicine, but Denerex adds an extra anti-itch medicine.
So long, Selsun Blue. Hello, Denerex.
Coming up next, the 15th Olympic Games officially begin with the opening ceremony live from Calgary, Alberta. Then on ABC's Wide World of Sports, Olympic medalists shine at the NutraSweet Figure Skating Championships. And later tonight, the United States Olympic team takes on Australia, live except on the West Coast. This is Nelson Burton Jr. along with Dick Weber saying so long from Miami. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports. Once again, the winner is Tom Milton, 233 to 221.